Because football is a global sport, it's only natural that countries and regions will adopt different formats during the league season. You have most of the major European countries with similar rules, like the top 5 leagues in England, Spain, Germany, France, and Italy. You have Liga MX in Mexico, which has 2 small seasons during the overall competition, with the potential 2 winners of the mini-seasons playing each other at the end of the year. You have the MLS in the United States, its conference and playoff system, and an insane set of transfer rules that scares every Football Manager player. But then you have the Belgian Pro League, and while it maybe doesn't have as many rules as some of the other leagues, it could very well have the most unnecessary and convoluted format in the entire world. Now I'm bringing this up because the Pro League finished last Sunday and Club Brugge were crowned the champions. I still don't know if it's Club Brugge or Club Brugge, so I'm just saying Brugge, it's easier, I'm sorry. However, when you look at the final table, some things don't really make sense. Club Brugge, for example, won 21 matches and got 12 draws, which obviously doesn't add up to their 50-point total. In fact, no club's record seems to equal their point total. Union Saint-Gilloise, or USG, also has more wins than Club Brugge and less losses, which would make you think that they should have more points, yet they sit in second, a point behind the leaders. Antwerp and Genk have similar records as well, with Genk finishing with only 2 more draws, so it makes sense why they're above Antwerp, but to be 5 points ahead? Oh, and to finish it off, a club that got relegated actually ended with only 2 less points than Antwerp. Now don't worry, I'm gonna try to explain this crazy league as best as I possibly can, but be warned.
Because the plan gets a little convoluted and a lot crazy.
So the Pro League has seen its fair share of some amazing league finishes the past few seasons, partly because of some clubs getting better, like USG being promoted into the top tier during the 21-22 season and then immediately challenged for the title, or Antwerp doing so well that they made the Champions League for the very first time last season. The biggest reason, however, as mentioned earlier, is because of the league format and its rules. Now the league initially starts out in a very common way. There are 16 clubs in the league, so each team will play each other twice, home and away, with a win being worth 3 points, a draw worth 1 point, and a loss worth 0 points. As you can see, after the 30-match season, it ends up to be pretty standard, and all of the point totals actually match up too. The tiebreakers, although a little odd, are also pretty standard, with the first tiebreaker being total wins, followed by goal difference. That's why Cercle Bruges and their 14 wins are above Genk and Gent, and why Genk's 20+ goal difference puts them ahead of Gent. Alright, sure, it's a little different with the total win tiebreaker being the most important, but you know, other than that, it's a pretty normal situation. But just like when your mom starts bringing home her boyfriend a little too early after the divorce, this is where things start to get a little weird. I'm not gonna call you dad, Jeff. Once the 30-match season is complete, the league splits into 3 different groups: the Championship Group, the ECL Group, and the Relegation Group, with the first 2 containing 6 clubs and the Relegation Group containing 4. Each club will play the other teams in their respective group 2 times, but not before having their point total cut in half. That's right, their point total from the 30-match season is slashed, halved, decimated, cut back, decreased, reduced. That means USG would start with 35 points instead of 70, Antwerp would start with 26 instead of 52, and those with an odd number of points would have their point total rounded up, meaning Anderlecht would have 32 and Club Brugge would be equal with Antwerp at 26. This point reducing measure occurs in the ECL group as well, but not in the relegation group, because that's obviously stupid. Why would you think that? You're an idiot. Now I'm assuming they did this in order to make the league a little bit more competitive, maybe have some different title winners, and perhaps have a more frantic final day, which, you know, goal achieved, but clearly the league organizers were on something when they were making up these rules. So after the points have been cut in half, all of the clubs play their matches like normal, or at least as normal as it can be in a situation like this. And eventually, all the clubs in the same group will play their final match at the same time, like England's Championship Sunday. This year, Club Brugge, USG, and Anderlecht all had a chance at the title on the final day. Now you may ask, how could USG or Anderlecht win the league? The tiebreakers that you mentioned before were total wins and goal difference, and both of these clubs have fewer wins and a worse goal difference than Club Brugge. Plus, how is USG ahead of Anderlecht with fewer wins? And also, how can I be the coolest kid at a party? The answer to all of these questions is very simple. drugs. You see, those pesky league organizers were at it again and decided to change the tiebreakers for this part of the season. The first tiebreaker for the championship group is whether or not a club had their point total rounded up. Now, Club Brugge and Anderlecht did indeed have their point total rounded, so instead of having 49 and 46 points respectively, they basically have 48.5 and 45.5. Now, doesn't that defeat the purpose of rounding points in the first place? Yeah, probably, but I don't know, man. I'm trying to figure this out still. If that wasn't enough, the next tiebreaker is the position the clubs finished in the table before the split occurred, which means USG is leading that specific tiebreaker, followed by Anderlecht and then Club Brugge. So then why split the league in the first place then? Seriously, man, I don't know. Stop asking me these things. So again, this is what the table looked like going into the final day, with the top 3 clubs all having a chance to win the league. Cercle Brugge and Genk were also fighting for the 4th position in order to qualify for the Europa League, while the 5th place would go into a one-off match against the winner of the ECL group to get into the Conference League. Now, while the drama this year was not as palpable as last season, there was definitely some controversy. First of all, Anderlecht lost to Antwerp 3-1, so their hopes for a title were dashed just right then and there. But USG won their match against Genk 2-0, and therefore still had a chance to win the league. The controversy came in the 3rd match between city rivals Cercle Brugge and Club Brugge. It was a tame affair initially, as both clubs were just trying not to lose. Later on, however, in the 82nd minute, a goal was scored by Cercle Brugge, which would then make USG champions at that time and take the title away from their city rivals. Now, unfortunately, the goal was ruled out for offside, but this is where the controversy takes place. The lines that were drawn by VAR for the attacker clearly shows him offside, but he was not involved in the play whatsoever. This led to lots of confusion from the rest of the league until it was eventually cleared up the next day that Lopez's foot, number 22, was offside, and even though he didn't touch the ball, he was deemed to influence the play of the defender, therefore making him offside. The goal was then ruled out, and Club Brugge went on to win the title. Now, I don't want to end the discussion of this insane league just yet. There's still a couple of things to talk about. The fans are not exactly pleased with this league format. In fact, a lot of them want to do away with the league splitting into groups, or at the very least, the halving of points. I'm sure that USG specifically wants to see this system gone too, as they've won the league before the split 2 out of the past 3 seasons, but still have not actually been crowned champions of the league. Now, these guys actually choke harder than Arsenal, and that's really impressive. But not only will USG feel hard done by, but so will Antwerp, as they finished the league in 3rd place, which would have given them Europa League. But because of their dismal showing in the championship group, they won't get any European football whatsoever. And if that wasn't a kick in the teeth, a team that finished lower than them in the original table and got put into a different group has a chance to earn European football that Antwerp missed out on. Gent finished 7th and were placed in the ECL group, but then they completely dominated everyone and got 1st. And because of that, they play Genk for a chance to get into the Conference League. So that was obviously a lot, learning about a new wild league format, the controversy with said league format and the final match day, and then the fact that all of the fans in the Pro League actually hate all of the rules with the league format. Like I said, it was a lot. So in order to help you guys, I'm basically just gonna quickly summarize everything in this video. All right, you ready?